All right, buddy. Welcome to Grue, and thank you so much for being my guest and coming on. I appreciate your time.
Of course, thank you so much for having me. This is a long time coming, so I'm glad we were finally able to make it happen.
Definitely, yes, definitely. I guess like the first thing I want to start out asking you basically is what drew you to want to get involved with singing, making music, and basically being entertainer.
Yeah, well, it all started when probably I was about 7 years old. That was when I did my first musical. It was a choir teacher at the time, and she said, "Hey, I think you've got something special here. You should really think about, doing a performance at the local high school." And I thought, okay, sounds fun. And it was The Music Man, and I was just a sort of a townsperson, a little, background kid, just kind of running around the stage. And it was really sort of my first exposure to performing in front of, a live audience. And it really stuck with me for a long time. So all throughout junior high, all throughout high school, making sure I stayed on the stage for as long as I could. Every musical, every performance, I did a ton of, national anthems for my school. And
Oh,
then,
wow.
and then American Idol, sort of
Yeah.
came. And I was 19 years old, and it was the first season, so nobody even knew, what it was. And I heard about it through a friend, and she heard about the audition through a radio station,
Oh,
and
wow.
she said, "Hey, you should go out for this because Paula Abdul is going to be a judge." And I was like, "Oh my God, I love Paula Abdul, so I have to go."
Shame.
Um, so I remember going, and it was, there was nobody, there was not a single person in the hotel auditioning, and so I sort of looked around.
Oh,
I thought they had been canceled, but they were just waiting for people to show, and that's what I think is so funny is that nobody really knew what it was at the time. Um, but I decided to go in and found someone with a mic and a headset, and she said, "Oh, sit down. We're just waiting for more people to show up." And I said, "Okay." And then they finally rounded up 4 or 5 of us, took us into a room, and there was a line of duct tape on the floor, and she would say, "Step up to the line and say your name and where you're from, and then sing something." And there's a little kind of small, tiny camcorder, right, on a tripod at the front of the room, and yeah, I sang something very jazzy, something kind of more
yeah.
bluesy because I didn't want to be, very like boy bandy or bubblegum. I wanted to be, a little different. And then of course they said, "Hey, could you do something more pop?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course." So then I did, and um, after that, they sat me down and sort of interviewed me a little bit and asked me questions about my family. And I had mentioned that my parents are both deaf.
Yeah.
And that just sort of changed everything for them. And they were very surprised by that. And I didn't really find that was really the most interesting thing about me. It just felt like that's my life. That's all I know. So for me,
Mhm.
it didn't feel different. It didn't feel, um, you know, um, sad or challenging. That was just my life. So they sort of took that and ran with it. And I sort of, became, the kid with deaf parents on the show. And, I really didn't want it to be about that. I really wanted it to be
Yeah.
about, singing. And so, Paula Abdul, finally got to, sing in front of her and Simon and Randy. And, she asked me about my parents and she asked me to sign my song and sing it at the same time. And I just thought, oh God, here we go. Was not prepared for this. And, it wasn't like America's Next Top Sign Language Interpreter, right? I mean, this was about singing. And so I really wasn't prepared. So I was a
Yeah.
little bit, a little bit sloppy, admittedly, but, ran with it, made it happen. And yeah, it just sort of took off from there. And we became the hit show of the summer in 2002. I ended up being number 9 in the country. So we toured, we did, 30 cities in 40 days. Got to play to a lot of incredible audiences. And got to be on an album. It was our American Idol, greatest moments record that did very well. I think sold like 800,000 copies or something. And,
Yeah.
it was a blast. It was the time of my life. And I was just 19, and all of it
Oh my.
came as such a surprise, right? It was like, oh, you're going to tour. Oh, you're going to be on an album.
Yeah.
There was nothing to compare us to. So we didn't really, we were just all so excited, for all of it.
Oh wow. And and like being on that show, like the first time, I mean, after you sing for like Paula and Simon and all them, when you're on stage for the first time in front of like a live crowd that's actually going to be watching you for the first time, like how nerve-wracking is that?
I mean, listen, Rocco, I was not prepared. It's different when you're, doing live theater, right? Because it's instantaneous and you've got a smaller crowd, right? But then you get on a stage, and I will never forget just being in the top 10 and singing, and you know that millions of people are tuned in, right? It's not just the audience in front of you, but you learn really, really quickly how to navigate where the cameras are, right? Because there's cameras kind of flying at you. So you've got to kind of be very aware of them and kind of also play to them, because that is what plays to America, right? That's what
Yeah,
they see. So you
yeah.
learn so fast about how the industry works, how to play to camera, how to play to your audience that's right in front of you, and still make sure that you're not giving off weird facial expressions, which I always did, because that's how I communicated with my parents, right? When you don't yell or scream, you're
Yeah,
naturally
true.
more expressive, right, in your face. And so that, coupled with musical theater, coupled with being gay, because we're expressive, right? Like, I was just kind of screwed, basically. So yeah, it was so nerve-wracking, and I don't even know how I really kind of internalized that, but I just sort of thought of it like a talent show, and I just thought, just you're just playing to some people, millions of people, they're not really there.
And like, what's it like to actually like work with? I mean, their personalities are so different. You got the mean, stern Simon, and then the sweet Paula. Like,
Yeah.
what was it like to actually? Because I'm a huge Paula fan too, and I probably would pass out if I was in front of her.
Yeah.
And
I almost did a couple of times, but I think the beautiful thing about her is, as a person, she's amazing. She really loved us, and she wanted the best for us. I mean, she gave us gifts, and she gave us her phone number, and her and I, texted for years and years and years, back and forth. And she bought my album when it came out, in
oh my God,
2005. She's just like salt of the earth, and I think because she's been there, she was able to sort of support us in a different way. And I think Simon, listen, it was his gig, and I think if you didn't
yeah,
have his personality, and I think if you didn't have that sort of, kind of yin and yang to the show, it probably never would have worked, right? But
you're right.
he was pretty rough on me, no question about that. But that was the show, right? That was the appeal. That's how the viewers wanted to tune in, was because they wanted to hear what Simon had to say.
Yeah, yeah.
So, Simon's fine. Is he like, am I gonna, call him to go out to brunch tomorrow? No, probably not. But Paula, absolutely, every day,
Yeah.
all day. Yeah.
Yeah, oh wow, that's funny. Because I was watching an interview just recently, and one another person from Idol, David R Chuleta, like he was talking about like his experience on Idol, and he says yeah, Idol was fun, but it was also like very nerve-wracking, and they kind of like told you everything to do, and if you stepped out of line, it was like you did something bad.
Uh,
And I was listening, I was like, oh wow, I said I didn't know all that behind the scenes stuff, like what happened like on Idol. But he also said him and Paula are like super close, and
uh,
he texts her and they hang out, and
she's the best. And funny story about David Archuleta, who I love. We were in LA for the finale, for when Kelly and Justin were the final two, right?
yeah.
We were at the Kodak Theater. We were just doing a rehearsal, and in comes this man with 9-year-old David Archuleta. He is 9 years old. His dad walks him up to us, and it's like me and Justin and Kelly and Tamira and Nikki, and we're all just like blah blah blah, like in the lobby of a hotel. And his dad says, "You got to hear my kid sing. You got to hear him sing." And so we're all like, "Okay, great." And David Archuleta, little baby David Archuleta, sings "And I Am Telling You" from Dreamgirls. And I thought to myself, "Oh, okay." And so we're all just like looking at each other. He's 9, and funny that we didn't know this, but he ends up, obviously going on to do, very well with Idol. So yeah, we
Yeah.
we met David when he was 9 years old. So
Oh my God, that is so crazy.
yeah, and he's the best. He's super. He's just adorable. But it's great to see him, do so well. And I love that he's, so open, and I think he's really making such a difference in so many people's lives. So I've just loved to see what he's been able to do. So.
Oh wow, that's pretty funny. You met him when he was 9.
Yeah. Yeah, he would never remember, but there's video footage, I think, somewhere. So,
And you mentioned how like American Idol brought everybody on tour and you were touring with everyone
uh,
singing your songs.
uh,
And how was the tour like? Like I mean, you toured like every big city. It was like a like like real artists, real bands going on tour.
exactly. It was the best, because, there were no judges. We could just have fun, do meet and greets with people that supported us this entire time and just be close with the people that stood by us, right? I mean, I think the beautiful thing about American Idol is it gives you a fan base. And
Yeah,
a fan base that you never would have had. And so you have to really take that and kind of keep them close to you and make sure that you're giving them what they're wanting, right? And so
sure.
this was a different time because we didn't have social media back then. So
Oh yeah.
there was no Instagram, no Facebook, no Twitter, no nothing. So really it was all, about these in-person tours and in-person, engagements and signings and all of that. And so yeah, it was just living out of a bus, and then it's another bus, hotel room, check out, go to the venue, do a sound check, hair and makeup, and it's just you were so regimented for like 40 days, right? And
Mhm.
it was the best. It was the best time. I'm so lucky that I got a chance to do that at 19 years old.
Oh wow, it sounds fun.
It's a blast, a lot of work, but it
Yeah.
was so much fun.
Oh wow. And the media could be like, I mean, you need them to get big and noticed, but on the flip side, they can also be mean and toxic. And I know like the media kind of outed you. And was it during Idol or during the tour when you finally said, all right, since they're already on this, I might as well do it.
Yeah, that's a great question. It was a really hard situation because I wasn't prepared to. I mean, everyone knew I was gay on the show, the contestants, I was not hiding that in any way. But when you do it publicly, that's a very different thing. So, again, I came out to my mother and sister when I was 18, and I just had asked them both, please just, don't tell dad. I want to wait for that because, I mean, listen, hard of hearing, born in Greece, immigrated to the United States just at 3 years old. I just wanted to have some time with him before I knew he would be very upset. And so
Yeah.
I was much closer to my mom and sister anyway, and they understood obviously. So when I was outed by the Globe, it was just massive. It was just this 2-page spread, and I had gone to the Abbey, which is a gay bar in LA, and it was just an event. And I was taking a photo, I think, with a waiter or someone who sort of a cater waiter who worked at the event, and then it was just like this huge splash of like American Idol star
Mm.
gay. And people wonder who's next, like it was a disease or something.
Oh my God.
And so I just thought, okay, well, I better say something because, that's not fair to my dad to sort of read about it rather than hear about it from his own son. So obviously I had to tell him. And then that sort of corresponded with both the Advocate and Out Magazine wanting the exclusive to my coming out story. And, I wanted to make sure that I told a certain amount of people before I did it, publicly. I just thought that that was fair. So, in a lot of ways, I think I was kind of pushed out for sure. But then at the same time, I sort of looked at it as an opportunity because, you know, I came out before my career really started.
Well, yeah, yeah.
And there wasn't a lot of, I think, representation for queer men at the time. There wasn't, this was 2002, 2003. So, Rosie O'Donnell came out the same year I did. Ellen DeGeneres
Oh,
had
wow.
been out for a few years before I came out. So there weren't a lot of, either pop singers that were American and openly gay. There wasn't a lot of openly gay actors, out there. So, it was just sort of like, how do I navigate this as a very young person in in the entertainment field, right? I just come off of Idol. I'm trying to figure things out. People said, "Don't come out of the closet. You're going to ruin your entire career." But I just thought, what about that kid who's like 15 or 14 in, Kentucky or Louisiana or Alabama, and they're just like struggling and they don't see themselves anywhere. What if I
Oh,
was that, if I was that person that they saw and saw was on Idol, and then maybe they had some success, and then they're not so alone. So I came out publicly.
wow. And but I mean, with it's more acceptable now. I mean, there's so many actors that are out and singers that are out, and you basically like broke down that barrier, broke down the door for all these like younger stars to actually feel confident and feel free to actually say it. And how does that feel to like inspire like a new generation of younger people like coming out in the world of singing and acting?
Yeah, I mean, that's very kind, and generous of you to say, so I appreciate that. I'm inspired by them, and that's really what inspired me to come back and do music.
Yeah.
I see this incredible success of so many mainstream singers and actors who are openly queer, and that really inspired me because it sort of made me think like, okay, well, maybe I'm not done yet. I'm 42 years old. I've been through a lot in my life. I've been married twice. It's like the jig is up. It's like I'm not coming from Disney Channel. You know what I mean? Like I've been through some shit. So, I think as a 42-year-old gay man, queer person, I think I'm more confident in saying what I need to say and how I need to
Mhm.
say it, without a filter or without censorship. And I looked at really the success of God, everyone from, Sam Smith and Chappell Roan and um, Troye Sivan, right? And even David Archuleta, right? Like I think
Yeah.
Adam Lambert, another amazing talent from
Oh
Idol.
yeah, another idol guy. Yeah.
David Hernandez and Michaela Gordon also from Idol. Like these are all queer people who are finding their voices and are being elevated because of it, not in spite of it. And so I just felt really inspired by that. I felt really empowered to get back into the studio and do something that felt really authentic and really now and very timely. And that really led to the birth of Explicit, my new EP, which is out everywhere. So go check it out if you haven't already. But it's a collection of 6 songs with 5 remixes, and I just wanted something fun, upbeat, sexy, and just really, really me. So that's really what That's amazing that I inspired them, but also I think they inspired me, as well too.
And like you mentioned, like your new the album that's out, the EEP,
Yeah.
and like that was going to be like my question, like what inspired you to make this and write the songs and put them out, and how's it different from like the roller coaster album?
Oh God. Well, it's funny because this year is the 20th anniversary of Roller Coaster, and so it's like no better time to celebrate that than to put something else that's new, right?
Yeah.
I really talk about this a lot, and that is if you are a person who was drawn to something artistic, or maybe you're an athlete that was really passionate about a sport, or you're a sculptor, a painter, whatever it may be. When we were younger, we were very drawn to these things, and we were drawn to them very organically and for a reason, right? But as we get older, life gets busy, right? We have partnerships and relationships and marriages, we have mortgages, we have kids sometimes, right? And so we lose sight of the things that we loved so much when we were kids. And so for me, that fire, that performance, it's sort of like a pilot light, right? And it just keeps burning. and you either decide to touch it or just let it burn. And I
Yeah.
just couldn't let it burn anymore, you know? And so in 2023, so 2 years ago, I felt that itch to get back, into the studio. And I came up with a great song called Take My Bow. And I co-wrote that with an amazing queer songwriter, Jace Green, out of Oklahoma City, 23 years old. So like taught me a lot because I felt like super old around. So it we pushed it into the United Kingdom to see kind of what that reaction would be. And it went all the way to top five on their commercial pop
Oh my
chart.
God.
I was literally with Kylie Minogue and Calvin Harris and Crystal Waters, and then there was me. And it felt like a sign that I should see what else is there. Like keep this going. And I put out a second single in 2024 called Pyramid, and then that went to number six on the UK
Damn.
pop commercial chart. And so that really then sort of gave me the inspiration to do this and to really just step back into it, but really do it from a grassroots, level. Like next, I'm going to try and get a video together.
Yeah.
I'm going to start doing some pop-ups in LA and Miami and New York and Chicago and just sort of kind of do this very organically, very grassroots, because at 42, everything's different. Everything is different. And I'm different. The life I've been through is different. The songs I'm writing are different, but also I can really step into a place that's mine, and I've done this for a minute. So now it feels like a rebirth in a lot of ways. And it's exciting. It's scary because, there's so much that I have to learn from a social media standpoint, hiring a content creator and building that TikTok, following. And it's like, well,
Oh yeah.
I don't want to do like, choreography at 42. I'm going to look like a fool, right? So it's about doing things that make sense and that feel real and that feel authentic, right? So it's a lot of relearning, but it's exciting. It feels like an exciting time.
Hey, you can always ask Paula to help with
Yeah, I should.
the choreographing, you know?
Oh my gosh, I wish. I know that I think her and David have done a couple of things, but yeah, I should
I
text her
think
and say,
so,
"Hey,
yeah.
you busy? Come to Chicago."
Exactly. And with the newer songs,
Yeah.
like you write about like being like more open now, like
Yeah.
free and you talk about whatever you want, like no holding back, whether it's sex or queer life or anything you want to talk about, you're talking about in this new album, right?
Yeah, and I think it's also, a reflection of the time that we're in. I think in so many ways, like you said, we're in a different climate, but then there's also this other part of it where it's trying to be pulled back. And so this is why I think queer people need to be as loud as possible, particularly with your art, right? Put it out there, be you, be your authentic self, because we need more representation now more than we've ever had.
Mhm.
And we need to fight against this administration that is basically trying to erase us in a lot of ways.
I
And
know.
it's important that everybody stands true in themselves, do not back down. And if you're an artist, create it and put it out because we need to see it.
Oh no, you're absolutely right. Like you have to. It's crazy times right now. Like I know like everything is more open now. Like everyone's more free
Yeah.
to be themselves and coming out. But then you have the the government that's trying to put all that good stuff that we have and put it in like a bubble now.
Yeah, it's so true. It's very hard, I think, for a lot of people right now. But I think this is where you need to find your joy. This is where you need to find your family, your friends, stay close to them, do the things that make you happy. And it's,
Mhm.
I think RuPaul said this, but there's always going to be darkness. Just don't live there. Just don't stare at it for too long. Acknowledge it. Keep yourself informed as to what's going on, but we've got to continue living our lives and putting out our art and surrounding ourselves around the people that we love and love us back.
Definitely, definitely. And I know this is going to be a crazy question, but is there a song from the album that you might like a little more than the others?
Oh, it's so hard. Rocco, they're all my babies. So I
I
love them
know.
all. Or I love them all for different reasons. I think I really like Good Boy. That's probably
Okay.
it's kind of a banger, but also it's kind of one of those songs that yeah, that's sort of one of my, you know, it's more on the sexier side, and I think people will understand if you think of what Good Boy means, that's probably what it is. So that would be the song that I would say go listen to.
Yeah, like I see like some of the names of the songs, and you have to I mean, if you didn't hear it yet, like you have to kind of think like what it means, like good
Right.
boy, blow, scandal. Like I'm like yeah, okay.
And then there's some of the things that aren't so bad, right? But life is a balance, and you've gotta. I wanted this to be right, and I wanted this to feel like me, and so that's why the sort of all came to be.
I love it. I love it. And what do you love most about like doing live shows, being on stage?
Oh God, it's been a minute. So I need to get back to it. I literally am just starting to do outreach to certain clubs right now across the country. I think it's just the energy that you get back, right? It's playing to people that love your music and support you, and maybe you see someone wearing a t-shirt of yours, or maybe it's like, maybe they learned sign language, because of my story, and that happened a lot on tour, with Idol, and it's just that connection, right? You're never gonna feel that, from a virtual perspective, but like being in a room with people that know your music and love you and support you, and you are your own authentic self that is not hiding behind anything, and everyone's behind you, like that's a beautiful thing.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because I know like you played a lot of pride events and gay clubs
Yeah.
and yeah, that must have been so much fun just to actually experience pride, like not only as a fan but as a person on stage.
Yeah, it's a beautiful time, I think, and it's more, I think, important now for me to be a part of those events, and to stand by my community and to make sure that we're bringing 10 people with us, So, yeah, I'm really excited about the future, and I'm looking forward to getting these songs out, and grabbing some dancers, and making it a show.
Oh yeah. And not only do you sing, but you also act like you were in the first two eating out films.
Ah,
And for anyone who don't know what they are, it's queer based films, and those are the films that made me realize that I like guys.
wow.
And yeah, I was like, ooh, I said this is like kind of like me, but I was like, okay.
Wow, that's amazing. That's wow, that's really incredible to hear. It's if people haven't seen it or they don't know it, it's very much like an American Pie, but gay, right? And I think the great thing about these movies is that, so often, particularly in the early 2000s, there were a lot of movies that focused on the trauma, right? That focused on the downside and the depression and the suicide. But these were movies that went the other way. These were
Yeah.
movies that were just fun and sexy, and we didn't take ourselves too seriously, and it was just fun, and I think we wanted to show the other side of it, and also just enjoy being gay can be a lot of fun too, and so when I got the script for the first film, I was so excited because I thought it was so funny. And it was really closer to what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I was doing Roller Coaster and Eating Out kind of at the same time.
Oh,
They both sort of came out the same year. So I was able to sing on the soundtrack for Eating Out, and also
oh,
have songs on the soundtrack while also Roller Coaster, coming out. So that was really special. Um, but they're great movies. They're campy. They're fun.
oh, yeah.
They probably don't age very well, like if you were to watch them now. But I love being a part of it. Those are really, proud moments for me because just like you had said, there are a lot of people that have will say to me even 20 years later, you know, Eating Out was one of the first movies I ever saw where I thought to myself, "Oh, I think I'm gay." Like I
Yeah, yeah.
to see it and to see yourself represented in some way, I think really resonated with a lot of our audience, and so that was really really special. And doing the sequel was so much fun. We actually shot the first Eating Out in 10 days. It was
Oh, wow.
really fast, super low budget, but we made it happen, and it did really, really well, in the film festival circuit, and yeah, just one of those, just fun movies that it was just a blast to be a part of.
Nice, nice. And when you aren't making music and acting, what do you like doing during your free time?
Oh, well, let's see. We live in Chicago, my husband and I. We live in
Hmm.
the city. So we love going to shows. We actually live really close to United Center. So whenever there's an act that we, want to go see, we can just literally walk to see them. We just saw Tate McRae last Friday. So we love going to see artists play. The occasional bar or club, go see a movie. But we also have a really beautiful row house that was built in 1890. So in
Oh,
our
wow.
downtime, we're also renovating, each room and trying to modernize, the house a bit. So yeah, we do a lot of different things, but that's kind of what we do.
I like it. And what about like what kind of I mean, I know like the songs that you make are very like up and
Yeah,
dance
yeah.
and electronic and all that stuff. So what kind of music do you like listening to?
Oh my gosh. I like everything, with the exception of like bluegrass, I pretty much I will listen to pretty much everything. I would say right now it's probably a lot of well, Madonna I will never get sick of. But Madonna, Chappell Roan, Lil Nas X is great. Love Troye Sivan, love Adam Lambert. Vincent is great. Um, I love, gosh, there's just, um, yeah, I guess that's, it's just I like Ariana Grande. Um, I'm a big pop guy. I always have been, my music is really centered around, the pop of Britney and
Yeah.
the sort of the sensibilities of George Michael and a little bit of Justin Timberlake. And so if they all had a baby, I feel like that would be if they had a throuple, basically, like what would happen would be like Jim Verraros music would what I think it would what would happen. So yeah.
And what do you think would be your go-to karaoke song if you were going to
Oh,
do one?
oof. I love usually it's Faith by George Michael or
Oh,
it
yeah.
Need You Tonight by In Excess.
Yes. Yes.
It's like fun. I don't know. Like it's sometimes it's funny because when I do karaoke, I almost take it a little too seriously just because like people expect you to be like Mariah Carey all the time. And I'm just like,
Oh,
well, sometimes I'm drunk and I don't want to have to worry about how good I sound and I just want to have fun. And so there's always like this pressure like with karaoke. So even though it should be fun for everybody, but like, I just think it's like the singer in me that I'm like, okay, if you pick a song, you better nail it. It's got to be perfect. Find your moments of like, as if it were like an audition on American Idol. But yeah.
you be seeing Paula sitting there saying, "Go, go,
Right.
go."
I know. Like, what would Paula do? What would she want to hear from me today?
And I'm a big horror fan, and I always ask guests this when I have them on. Are there any horror films, scary films that you like?
Well, there's a lot of buzz right now for two movies that I saw the previews for, and I'm dying to see them. One, so I haven't seen them yet, but they look really good. So one is Together with uh,
Yes.
James Franco and is it Allison Brie, I think her name is. So that looks creepy as hell. Love that one. Also, Weapons. Everyone is talking
Weapons
about
is
this.
amazing. It's
I
amazing.
am dying to see those movies. I
Yeah.
love horror movies. I think they're a lot of fun. My husband is not. He like is a baby and like turns
Oh no.
the gore. So I'm like, I think it's kind of fun. Actually, I would love to do a gay, like a queer horror movie. That would actually be a lot of fun.
That'd be awesome.
I think those movies look really, really interesting. So, but you've seen Weapons and you really like it.
Weapons is really good,
Okay.
yes. It's
Everyone is
creepy.
talking about it, so I'm dying to see that.
Oh yeah, you'll definitely like it. It's a creepy film.
What is your favorite horror movie of all time?
Probably Chucky. Like I
Oh,
always loved Chucky, like that little innocent killer doll that turns like he's this like little innocent doll, and then in like a split second he's like calling you like a motherfucker and like wanting to kill you, and I'm like, oh shit.
yeah, that is creepy as hell. A lot of doll movies are creepy, like Annabelle, or even movies like Insidious, which is actually like super creepy. Uh,
Yeah.
what is that chain of movies that they keep making? I think they're on like the fourth one they just announced. But it's about the psychic couple that goes into your house and they cleanse like that home from.
Oh, the Conjuring.
Yes, that is the Conjuring number. Like the first Conjuring is amazing.
Yes.
And I don't know if they're still as good as they used to be, but yeah, I used to love those movies too.
There's so much like stuff going around about them though, like the Warrens, the couple.
Oh
Like
yeah.
some people say like everything they did was on the level and real. Some people are saying it was fake. And now like the family, because they own the real the haunted doll, the Annabelle doll.
Oh,
And Matt Rife, the comedian, just
yeah.
bought the rights to the Annabelle doll. Now he owns it.
Oh, interest. Why would Matt Rife want the rights to that doll?
I don't know. Like he bought the Warren's house and all the cursed items that are locked in the
Yeah,
basement,
that's a little
including that.
creepy. That is creepy. Okay. Cute, but creepy. All right.
I know. I was shocked. Like I didn't know he was that big of like a paranormal fan.
Who
Like
knew?
I would have never guessed that.
Oh, that's very interesting. Huh. Okay. All right, Matt.
And with Halloween coming up, do you have any plans? Like, do you and your husband have like a costume or party or anything?
You know what's funny is so my husband is notorious for throwing these insane Halloween parties, and he had been doing it for years and years before him and I met. And, I had been looking at all these pictures and I said, we should do one together. Let's throw a party together. And he was like, Jim, it's a lot of work. All of our furniture on the first floor has to be like, moved upstairs, and we've got to have bartenders and smoke and fog machines and mannequins in our backyard and like it's a big to do. And I was like, all right, well, let's do it one year. And so we did. This was probably back in 2018, I think we threw our Halloween party. There was probably 250 people in our house, and we went all out. It was Nip Tuck themed. So if you've never seen Nip Tuck,
Oh my God.
that was sort of like the theme that we did. And so we hired these incredible makeup artists to make us look like we had a lot of plastic surgery done. Um, and I mean, it was crazy. We were like, Facebook marketplacing mannequins from old retail stores. We were
Oh my
trying to find
God.
like, we were trying to make sure like our fog machines, we bought like a gurney. We had like a mannequin in like a wheelchair holding a baby. Like there was like fog everywhere. Like we had a DJ. We were up until I think 6 in the morning, like the next day. So it was,
What?
it was like legendary, but also that was our last time that we ever did it. Because when you start to improve your house, like, things are gonna get damaged, right? When you have that many people. So we were like, you know what? This will be the last time we do it. And then let's
Yeah.
start, making our house the way that we want it. But it was a blast. And we love it. So last year, Sean and I went to this big Halloween party in Chicago. We were Deadpool and Wolverine.
Oh, I
That was
like
a
it.
that was a fun combo. This year, I don't know. We've always wanted to go to New Orleans and do Halloween there. I don't know if we'll do that this year, maybe next year, but we haven't thought about costumes. But honestly, you're right. Now is probably the time
It's
to kind of start
it's
pulling
right
it
around the
together.
corner. Like
Yeah.
it's crazy. It's coming up fast.
Yeah. What are you gonna do? Have you thought about that yet?
I just started thinking about like I have to narrow like some ideas down. I would love to go to Salem on Halloween. Like
Oh,
that,
that's cool.
I never been to Salem yet. I want to do Salem on like Halloween night.
Yes, that would be incredible. You would love that, I bet.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Like, I don't know what I want to be yet. It's probably something horror related, but yeah, I usually go with like a horror character, so it's always something like that.
Yeah, I love it. No, I love Halloween. It's super fun. We never get trick-or-treaters because I don't think we don't have a lot of like kids in this area because it's very busy
Mm.
streets and, we have to kind of go and find our own candy, basically.
Right. And I guess like the last thing I'll ask you is there anything coming up for you want to plug, and where can fans follow you at?
Yeah. Well, listen, club appearance probably soon, maybe this fall, I think. But you can follow me on Instagram at Jim Verraros, and then I've got my official website, which is jimverrarosmusic.com. I've got merch, so go check it out. Support me. Grab a T-shirt, a crop top, cross bag. I've got lots of great stuff. But yeah, stay tuned. Some appearances are going to be coming up this fall, so hopefully I'll get to meet all of you in person.
Hey, well, if you come anywhere close to Philly, I'll definitely come
Yes.
out and see
Oh
you.
my gosh, of course, Rocco. That'd be great. I'll have to let you know. Definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it was very nice meeting you.
Nice
Thanks so
meeting
much for
you.
doing
Oh,
this.
thank you for having me. This is awesome. You were a lot of fun. So I appreciate you making the time. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Well, have an amazing night.
Thank you. You too. Good to see you.
Good seeing you.